about law education in Indonesia.
So, before we going to start our presentation, let me introduce my members group. First, my name is Annisa, Ainul, Mardiah.
My name is Meysi Rahayu.
My name is Rizka Nuraini.
So,
Let's start our
presentation. Bye. What is meant by education? In general, the notion of education is a process of learning the knowledge, skills, and habits of a group of people who are passed on from one generation to the next generation through teaching, training, and research. With education, a person can have intelligence, noble character, personality, spiritual strength, and skill that benefit themselves and society. After we know the true meaning of an education, we will continue again how education in our country. Why education in Indonesia is so low compared to other countries. Education in Indonesia has returned to the spotlight in recent days. One of the Ministry of Education and Culture latest ideas about education system has made the public's eyes refresh the quality of education in Indonesia. In 2014, Indonesia's education position was very poor. The Learning Curve Person 2014 World Education Ranking Agency explained that Indonesia was ranked last in the world quality of education. Whereas in 2015, the quality of Indonesia was still in 10 countries that had low quality education. The ranking was obtained from the Global School Ranking. View from 2014 running into 2015, the quality of education in Indonesia can be said to have increased, although it did not experience a very significant increase. Summarizing from several sources, it can be said that there are 4 factors which at least cause the low quality of education in Indonesia. Namely, first, use of the package book as a reference book. Indonesia has changed the curriculum a number of times, but each change does not make progress. Even though the curriculum was changed, the system of using reference books or textbook is still used in the learning process. Teachers also use this book as the main reference for teaching without any reference from other books. And 2, monotone teaching system. The same learning system is always applied by teacher to his students by giving the rule that as long as the teacher delivers the materials, students are not allowed to ask questions. This fact makes students lazy to ask questions and instead does not pay attention to the material conveyed. There is no active communication between students and teachers. And 3, low teacher quality. It's no secret the teachers in Indonesia have low quality. They are more concerned with their own quality than the success of their students. The demands from the government, who also asks for certification, encourage them to manipulate data and prioritize school administration, how to retain students, how to attract new students, so they want to register with the school. And 4, cheating culture becomes increasingly. The culture of cheating is actually not one of the children lazy to learn, but from the teacher cannot control the habits of children like that. Even worse, there are some teachers who teach their children to cheat, as it is often heard now that every child in the class at the junior and senior high school level, those who won national exam are given like a TU look at Q answer from school. And from some of this factor, it can be seen that education in Indonesia is very difficult if you want to be improved. If there are no change actually made to education in Indonesia. In a website, there is a saying that Indonesia is not an educational country because Indonesia has never looked at education as something important in Indonesia. In this case, Indonesia must change its view of education in Indonesia because with education, Indonesia will be more able to compete in the global world today. Increasing the quality of education means that human resources are grown will get better quality and will be able to bring this nation to compete in healthy manner in all files of the international world. And that's all from me and will be continued by my friends. Thank you.
I will continue Annisa's presentation. For me, education is the key to develop our skill and logic that has to be our primary profession in real life. As I live in Indonesia, the education here still has problems to solve. The problems related to quality and access as well as the distribution of well-trained teachers are the most crucial problem in Indonesia. The thing is, there are few of causes that I already compiled why Indonesian education is still on a low quality. First, the effectiveness of education in Indonesia. The effectiveness of education in Indonesia is very low. After education practitioners conduct research and surveys in the field, one of the reasons is the absence of clear educational goals before learning activities are carried out. This causes students and educators do not know what goals will be generated, so they do not have a clear picture in the education process. Obviously, this is the most important issue if we want the effectiveness of teaching. How could the goal be achieved if we do not know what our goals are? All these years, many opinions assume that formal education is considered only a formality to shape a good human resource. No matter how the result of formal learning, the most important is to have carried out education at a high level and can be considered great by community. Such an assumption like that is also causes the effectiveness of teaching in Indonesia to be very low. Everyone has their own superiority in their respective fields and is expected to take education according to their talents and interests, not just to be considered great by others. Second, teaching efficiency in Indonesia. Some of the problems of teaching efficiency in Indonesia are the high cost of education, the time spent in the education process, the quality of teachers, and many other things that cause inefficient education process in Indonesia, which also influence the improvement of Indonesian better human resource. If we talk about the cost of education, we are not only talking about the expense of school, training, courses, or the formal or informal educational institutions selected, but we also talk about supporting properties such as books and talk about the transportation costs that are taken to the institution. This is why we have to spend a lot of money to get a good supplement needs for the school requirements. What surprises me more is there are educators who require tutoring to their students, which of course the educators is being paid for the tutoring itself. That is also a problem for students. Besides the problem of the high cost of education in Indonesia, another problem is the teaching time. In formal education, there are schools whose teaching schedule per day starts 7 and ends until 16. This is clearly inefficient because it requires a lot of time for students to follow their formal education process. In addition, many students attend other informal educational institutions such as academic tutoring, languages, extracurriculars, and others. It is clearly seen that it is not effective because students finally attend informal education to complement formal education, which is considered lacking. Another problem with the teaching efficiency is the quality of teachers. The lack of quality of teachers also causes students to not achieve the expected results and ultimately takes additional education, which also requires more money. Lack of educators' quality is caused by educators who teach not on their competence or on their expertise. Another thing is that educators cannot communicate teaching materials well, so that the studies are hard to understand and do not attract the sense. A good education system also helps in increasing the efficiency of education in Indonesia. Unfortunately, that our education system changes every time, so it is difficult for educators and students. Number third, education standardization in Indonesia. The world of education continues to change along with changing times. The competencies needed by the people are constantly changing, especially in this modern world, the current era of globalization. Competencies that must be owned or fulfilled by someone in an educational institution must meet the standards, and the quality of education is measured by standards and competency in various versions. So to that, new institutions are formed to carry out standardization and competencies such as the Badan Standarisasi Nasional Pendidikan or BSNP. A review of standardization and competence to improve the quality of education turns out to bring a hidden danger, specifically the possibility of education that is surrounded by competency standards alone, so that it loses the meaning and purpose of education. Students in Indonesia sometimes only think about how to achieve educational standards, not how to make education taken effectively and can be used. No matter how to get the results, the most important thing is to meet the value above a predetermined standard. Things like that are very unfortunate because it means education is losing meaning because it's degrading the standard of competence. That is clearly one of the causes of the low quality of education in Indonesia. That's it from me. It will be continued by my friends.
I will continue Rizka's presentation. So, in my opinion, of the many causes that obscure the decline of education in Indonesia, there are also many solutions that we can use to improve the level of education in Indonesia. First, improving teaching quality. Teachers will have a very important position and strategy in developing the potential of students to increase the professionalism of educators in learning. It needs to be improved by following upgrading according to experts that upgrading is all educational efforts that and experience to improve teacher expertise to align their knowledge and skills in accordance with the progress and development of science in their respective fields. Upgrading can improve the effectiveness and efficiency of work, expertise and improvement, especially education to deal with globalization. Number 2 is improve material in the context. The second is improve material in the context of improving education. The improvement of material is very important to get attention because with the complete material given, it certainly will broaden knowledge. Educators must master the material with added materials or their sources that are related and more actual and learn. So students are interested and motivated to learn the lessons. The third is improvements in method. Use the method is a way to apply or use in accordance with the material present, so that it gets satisfactory results in the teaching and learning process. The fourth is improvement of facilities. Means are tools or methods and techniques used in the order improve to effectiveness of communication and educational interactions between educators and students in the process of education and teaching in school. The fifth is improve learning quality. In every teaching and learning process, experience by students forever smoothly as expected, sometimes experiencing difficulties or obstacles in learning. These obstacles need to be overcome by various business as follows. The first provides learning motivation. Motivation is a motivator for students that is useful for growing and moving students' talents integrally in the world of learning. That is taken from the student's life value system and aim to explain tasks. Motivation is a great driving force in the teaching and learning process. Motivation gives to students can be in the form of giving awards. Fun efforts are given to students who have good achievements, whether in the form of words, objects, symbols, or in the form of numbers or values. This award aims to make students only motivated to study harder and be able to compete with their friends in a healthy manner, because with that, educators will easily improve the quality of education. Provide punishment. This punishment is educational in nature, meaning that the form of punishment itself is related to learning. This aims to correct mistakes. Have competitions and contests. This procurement is used to improve students' achievement, to help students in the formation of a strong mental in addition to the formation of knowledge, to help the teaching process that always starts from the real things for students. That's how to improve the quality of education. Hopefully with a few points above, education in Indonesia will be better. This is for me, and thank you for... That's all from us.
We hope you like it.
And thank you for watching and your attention for our group and our presentation. Don't forget to like,
Subscribe.
And comment down below.
Yay!
Bye.
Bye.